Hey everyone, it's Jason. Welcome to a very different video for this channel as well as different video for Marvel Rivals. Normally, this is my gameplay channel where I just do gameplay. But I'm going to do something a little bit different. Just see if it's something that might be interesting. Is talk about some video game stuff. And just some game things that aren't unboxing like I normally do on my other channel. So here's Marvel Rivals. I've been doing a bunch of videos. I've just been enamored with this game since it came out. I haven't been grinding 80, 100, 200 hours like some people have. But I've been playing it, in my free time when I can, which with all the other hobbies I have is surprisingly more than I've been committing to. But I decided to do this video of costumes I'd like to see, that with a little caveat that are saved mostly from other video games and not the obvious ones. So what this is I got my thing. I used to play Marvel Heroes when it came back in the day. If you're not familiar, that was an action RPG game. When it came out, if you subscribed to you paid for the beta. I shouldn't say subscribe, but if you paid for the beta, at certain amounts, you could end up getting all 26 characters each started that had two costumes: their classic modern costume and an alternate costume. And the whole thing is, as the game came out, they kept always releasing more and more costumes for every character. I think most characters had 3 to like 5, 6 costumes by the end of the game. There was a lot of characters in that game. Again, it started with 26 characters, and people were saying this starts with 33, so I thought it was an interesting comparison. But there's a lot of cool costumes in there, as well as in other games like Guardians of the Galaxy and the new Spider-Man games. Old like Marvel Legends games and X-Men Legends games had a lot of alternate costumes. Some mobile games, Avengers Academy, Strike Force, and Future Fight, all of different costumes and stuff. So I thought it'd be cool to check out costumes that came from other video games. The issue I started running into while doing this was a lot of the costumes were obviously just they were ones based off of comic book stuff. There wasn't a bunch of brand new creations like they're having in Marvel Rivals, which I really enjoy. Getting to see new, fresh takes on the characters. It's always my favorite thing. The second thing that came up a lot was there a lot of the is the first thing I mentioned in my first tab, or my third tab, I should say, is not so obvious. There are a lot of various obvious ones that I think they will come out with. It's like, oh, if we have Hulk, yeah, we're probably gonna get a gray Hulk costume. If we have Wolverine, we'll probably at some point get a Old Man Logan Wolverine. Spider-Man, we'll probably get Venom symbiote. Or the symbiote, black suit symbiote, or black suit costume in general. And I just didn't want to do all the obvious ones, or, oh, what about this movie version, or this movie version, and this movie version? Like, because again, we're probably going to get all those at some point, or at least some variation of them. So I didn't do all those. What I did also find out is there's, of course, a bunch of characters who just don't have a lot of different costumes. So I tried to pick everything, and then I did start hopping into comic book stuff after a while, because I was like, oh, like this character, I could only find one decent costume, or I could only find this. And this isn't every costume from every game that's available, because again, I just picked ones that I thought would be fun or I would like to see. So I'm going to go through all the different members. If I do find this interesting, I'll do it as more characters come out. I did include Human Torch and the Thing, because we know those are for sure the next 2 playable characters. There is the speculation of Blade being one of the next ones, but I didn't include any of his costumes just because that's, as of my thought, this is still speculation. Yeah, maybe if this video gets views and people like this, which, hey, hit me up in the comments if you'd like to see more or add other ideas that you think you'd like to see. Yeah, maybe I'll do that, or maybe I might do a follow-up video of characters I'd like to see and what roles I think they could do. So let's go ahead and hop into this. I've been rambling enough. We're going to start with Adam Warlock. So, from the left side, we have Avengers Academy, which is a little fun little mobile game you could play, where the neat concept of that game is every character started out as kind of like almost a teenager, and they had sort of like a very casual, school or streetwise uniform. And then they had like a Mega Evolution, which kind of got like a mixture between street clothes and their costume. And then their third one was their costume. And then they did have alternate costumes throughout the game. So Adam Warlock's not been in a ton of video games, so he doesn't have a ton of different costumes. I did like his Rock God costumes. I thought it was kind of a neat take. Again, I'm not saying that Marvel Rivals decides to play off these costumes. They have to go them one for one. They've been doing their own great takes on a lot of their classic costumes. Um, so I really hope that they even some of them, it might even be take a current costume they have and do an alternate template for it, and it might work just as well. So you could kind of do that with some of these characters, using alternate color for an existing costume, and it'd probably be pretty close. But yeah, I really like the Rock God one with like the little jacket and like the longer sleeves. Otherwise, his other one, his next one's just like this full costume. Looks pretty cool as well. You can see now if you jump to Future Fight, which is more of a current game that's out, team squad-based fighter mobile game as well. And you see how those two costumes are sort of similar. He doesn't have the jacket on, but he has like the lightning bolts that go down. But they're again different motif colors, but they still work. Otherwise, he has an Infinity Countdown costume that I think is also pretty neat. It looks more like a more modern superhero. And it kind of gives him, I like some of the little more flesh tone colors as opposed to just the golden god colors. The short hair looks pretty neat. I'm a sucker for the capes though, so that's pretty cool. So I couldn't find a lot for him. I know like jumping in the comic books, he has some other stuff. Obviously, again, would be like a Magus costume, which is almost like reverse colors of him, but that's just something simple to do. Alright, up next we have good old Black Panther T'Challa. So for Marvel Heroes, as I aforementioned talking about, and again, some of these costumes have also appeared in future games. I just started with Marvel Heroes and then went after that. So we have the Wakanda tech suit, which is a very basic Black Panther outfit, but it has some like good gold highlights on it, and the little tiny cape. I love the little capes. He has some other really neat ones. The problem you end up with Black Panther a lot is there's a lot of black costumes that look variations of themselves, and a lot of the characters you find in Marvel have that. They have variations of their same general theme. Scarlet Witch has a lot of red and black, Wolverine has a lot of yellow and blue, Spider-Man has a lot of his red and blue, Venoms are just slight variations on size or shape. And the thing is, when you're looking at a comic book and you're staring at the picture, that's awesome. But when you're playing a video game, especially a fast-paced game, where the characters aren't just standing around on the screen for a long time facing you. You need to be able to look at characters at a distance. You kind of need something that looks very identifiable and unique. And I don't want three dark Black Panther costumes or three various shades of white for Moon Knight. Like, they need to have something that makes them stand out. I think the little cape kind of does that, but it still sort of keeps the unique Black Panther-ness. From the Avengers, the Avengers game that came out, which a lot of people didn't really like enough. That's probably why sales didn't do as well. But it's more of I see a lot of comparison with these costumes compared to like current Marvel Rivals costumes, and a lot of people are, crapping on them. And I think that's not really fair because it's supposed to be more of a modern looking take. It's supposed to look more realistic versus the comic book ones are supposed to look more Rivals, especially supposed to look more chunky, bulkier. Animated, like arcade style almost. So I don't think it's a direct comparison between the two. It's like, oh, this looks like a bad cosplay. But this is the other problem I had with the Avengers costumes is there's like each character has about like 4 designs, and then everything else is just alternate colors of them. Some of the alternate colors do look really cool, but some are like, and we'll see some variations of them throughout the video here, but there's some that are like ice themed or Hawkeye themed, or like I didn't put any of the ones in there because there's a bunch of neon ones, and there's some that are just gold and black and stuff like that, and it's just like, so there's some cool looking designs, but I was trying to pick some that I thought looked neat. And again with this Black Panther, Heavy the Crown, I thought kind of looked cool. Again, the fact is he has a big giant like trench coat on. They do have variations of this where they have like somewhere where it's all black as well. But I think again going with the full all black color might make him look too much like the other ones. I did almost put the one in there where he has a hat on because I really like the hat. But yeah, it's sort of neat. Again, Marvel Rivals would take this design, not paste this right on you, and they make their own flair of it. So I think it would be really kind of neat. But like, yeah, just like So like if T'Challa was out like in public at like an event, but he's like, oh, I still need to be the Black Panther, so I have to wear the mask. And then the first thing I ever picked off any of these lists for a comic book one, this I literally why I ended up kind of looking at the comic book, was because of Exiles. So I love that it's a reality hopping, basically the What If series, but it follows a team of characters that go around to different universes instead of each thing just being about that universe. Um, and one of the later series, they went to a Western world where they found King from just T'Challa in the West. Magneto had killed his King dad, so now he's like gunning back at him. But I love the Western suit for him, and I think it still really fits like the Black Panther motif. Well being that. And I just love a Western themed. I know we like the steampunk coming, but we also have the 1970 or 1872. Um, but I kind of like this one. It's also just like straight up Western and not the steampunk with all the metal and gears and stuff. So I thought that was kind of a cool one. Up next, I have Black Widow. So I have a couple different ones for her. So for Marvel Heroes, we have Fear Itself. I love the Fear Itself costumes in general. They're very like neon trimmed um, aesthetics. This is basically when Thor's uncle um, dropped 7 deadly hammers around the world, creating a bunch of Thor, basically evil Thors, more or less, from bad guys. And then the heroes had to go get their forge their own weapons. So Black Widow here got 2 giant blades that I think have replaced her batons in the game very well. Like just aesthetically, they look different. Um, yeah, it kind of gives her a neon glow, which I would kind of maybe go against her whole sniper aesthetic or whatever. Um, but yeah, maybe even have something like, again, this might be pushing if they can do this or not, but like have it glow when she pulls out her blades, but when she's in sniper mode, maybe it turns off or dims down. So you can't be spotted as a sniper, but when she gets into combat, maybe she glows. I don't know, it might be kind of a neat thing. And they've had some of the other games have had variations on this too. I just picked the first one and just went with it. From the Avengers, which I didn't take a ton from, this is another unique design, was the Liquidator. You don't often see Black Widow in like a sleeveless outfit, so I thought that was kind of a neat aesthetic. And it's still kind of like the red-black motif. I just thought it looked kind of neat. The goggles might be a little bit overdoing it, but interesting. Again, from Future Fight, we have some really interesting ideas. One was the Avengers 3000. They had cybernetic-looking Avengers, and I thought this was a really cool one with the, again, she has the glowing stuff, which might betray her stealth options in the game. But again, maybe that's something that they could fix in the game to have it be on or off depending on which weapon she has. Even if not, who cares? You know, it might just be might be worth it enough to put a costume on if you make a hit, make a card yourself. It's kind of like Venom being black versus him being ice blue. Might make him not blend in or stand out more or less. But yeah, I like this idea. It's just a neon with the little like energy cloak. It's kind of cool. And the last one is from Secret Wars 2099. I am a huge fan of the 2099 world in general. So in the Secret Wars, which is comic book lore wise, Earths were shattering, dimensions were all colliding. Doctor Doom and Doctor Strange combined all these different alternate realities of the world to make the Battle World. And then the Secret Wars comic books, which I could probably do a list of just Secret War costumes I'd love to see. And maybe that might be something I would do because I would love to just in general review Secret War stuff. But yeah, so this is a Black Widow from the world of 2099. Yeah, she's actually a Black Widow. She's different. She's not Natasha Romanoff. She's obviously a future lady. But yeah, she has a stealth stinger motif aspect. So she doesn't use a gun. So again, that's sometimes the costumes aren't going to always fit the character's aesthetics 100%. But who cares? It still makes them look cool. But yeah, then she has like this cool goggles on. Like she has like that neat spider motif on her. Like literally a Black Widow. In your comic book, she actually eats people as well. She's literally a Black Widow. So that was really fun there. Then we have from Avengers Academy. So I did pull some from these, which would be more like these are the fun, fantastic things I like to see. So I had Bleeding Edge, to get more of like a cyberpunky one. Just thought it looked really neat. Like the full red with like the black jacket, I thought looked kind of neat because usually it was almost all black. That one based on Marvel 1872, which is again her cowboy outfit. Now this isn't exactly what she wore in that comic book, which again was a part of the Secret Wars series. But yeah, like the old cowboy idea was kind of a neat idea. And then you had Super Spy. We already have the white outfit from the movie, but I love this more of like the full Russian, like with the hat and the big fur on there. I just thought that kind of looked like a fun, different aesthetic. And again, some of these are more like, that'd be an awesome costume. Some of these are like, if they want to release like a little cheapy, gimmicky one, that'd be kind of cool too. Because I have a couple more for her that are, these ones are like outlandish. I don't think they'd happen. We have Ice Queen. She's one of the main characters of the game. That's why she has more costumes than some of the other characters. You'll see us with a few other characters. We have Ice Queen, which again, just if we want a winter theme one, be kind of interesting. A Cthulhu one. Hey, Halloween eventually comes up next year. The game's still going strong. We need some Halloween costumes. I just don't know how the wings would play into that, because that's, again, something you have to brand new model for. And then Gladiator. Just looks kind of like a neat, different aesthetic for her. Alright, then we have Captain America. So we have Arctic Suit from Marvel Heroes. We already had the winter themed costumes. We had Steve stuff, like with a couple of characters. So hey, this sticks around till next year, being the fact it's, depending on where you live, it's still cold out. This would be a neat, like, winter aesthetic for him. It's not too outlandish. It's pretty neat. I threw American Dream in here. So a couple of the characters I did, what if they had gender swaps? But I didn't want to just be like, what if it was just a female version of the character? Or I was also trying not to have it be like, if there's an obvious character that someone might like or might play differently, that they might want to do for some of the costumes, even just not even gender swap, but just even race or character swaps. Like for Captain America, I didn't throw in, like the Cap Falcon, or Cap Bucky as like a Captain America replacement costume. Easily could be done because he has a shield. He could just wear one of those costumes. And obviously, I think most people right now currently think, well, the obvious gender swap for Captain America would be Captain Carter. But honestly, I'd love to see American Dream. So she was from Marvel Universe 2, which is supposed to be like the Marvel Universe if it was like, I think like 20 years in the future. So it's basically a lot of the people have kids, so this is Captain America and Sharon Carter's kid. So yeah, she's taking up the mantle of Captain America. I thought that was kind of a cool one. Alternatively, I could have put in the Sharon Rogers from 2099, which is another alternate female Captain America. But I just thought it'd be kind of neat if they wanted to switch in, like, hey, so you could have some more female representation. If they didn't want to quickly add more female characters, not that they shouldn't keep adding more female characters. And I was again not trying to do the obvious things like, oh, if you play as Hulk, here's She-Hulk, because Hulk and She-Hulk play very differently. Spider-Man, Spider-Woman are going to play very differently. So I was trying to pick characters who would kind of play roughly the same. Then I have another Future Fight Avengers 3099, cyberpunk tech Captain America. I like the fact that it's all muted black with like the blue or the red accents, just kind of like little light highlights. Again, just kind of draws away from his stereotypical red, white, and blue costume, but still keeps that in there. And I did only a few costumes from Midnight Suns. Only because each character only had about 4 costumes. They had like their standard costume, which is basically the same as their regular one in-game, a little bit different for the game aesthetic. Then one was their Midnight Sun, which is basically just black and gold. A little bit different. And then they had like 2 other costumes about. And then a lot of different alternate colors. And some of the alternate colors represented other costumes as well. But I thought this was kind of a neat one. That Captain America being like his, like sort of like a medieval version of him. And I thought this is a cool design for that. He still has a shield, but again, he has the cape. Give me a cape. Put a cape on everybody. Give Jeff the Shark a cape right now. So here's some some more crazier ones from Avengers Academy, which is what I go with. They have the Ravager one, not to be confused with Guardians of the Galaxy Ravengers. This is supposed to be more like Mad Max Ravager, like post-apocalyptic. But I thought it was just, again, a little bit funnier, different take. I would love Cap Wolf, Werewolf Cap. Yeah, it could be a very quick, just skin swap. Like, that could be like one of the cheaper ones for like 600. You just have to change his face into like a wolf and change a couple of things. And then like the really crazy one, we have Heavy Metal. We already have the Heavy Metal Storm, with the Mohawks and stuff, so they could do a theme of this, which would be very interesting as well. Alright, then we have Cloak and Dagger. So Cloak and Dagger are a pain in the ass to find costumes for, because every one of their costumes are basically just slight variations on the other ones. Sometimes it's basically like hit Tyrone's cloak is just a little bit different shade of black or blue, or a little bit different thing, or he has his hood up or down. And Candy's Dagger's white costume, sometimes it has more of a cross, less of a cross, it's full up, but they're usually basically the same thing. Full black cloak, black thing. So when you notice in here, almost every single alternate costumes I could find, it's just their colors are swapped, and they do usually their colors and their powers are swapped, which would be a neat idea to put just as the costumes, because you can just swap the costume, kind of having like the color motifs a bit, like I have in the middle one with Negative Man, where it's like black and then she's wearing black, he's wearing white, or very similar to the Runaway Secret Wars, where he's wearing a black non-cloaked outfit and she has a white cloaked outfit. But you could kind of, in those two, could kind of keep their powers the same. And it'd still, I think, kind of work, even though it wouldn't be the correct aesthetic for, what their costumes do. The Despair one was supposed to be in the regular Cloak and Dagger series, was actually supposed to be like, he said if he hadn't interfered and got them on drugs, just how their powers activated, their powers would have been inverted. So, like, they're supposed to always have inverted powers. So she became Cloak, he became Dagger, essentially. But again, the problem with this is, not that I think it would necessarily be terribly hard to just swap their abilities, like they each have the shield, just swap what each one does, or that. But the problem is that would confuse everybody, because they wouldn't know which Dagger and which Cloak is doing which or what, so that'd be the only problem. So this would be like an odd one to change it. I do like the Runaways one, it's just a completely different style. So I thought that was kind of neat. But again, the thing is, sort of like when they had Moon Knight's Mr. Knight costume and they had to give him the cape, which he doesn't normally have when he's in a suit, because his character in the game needs his cape modeled for some of his actions, his flight powers. That'd be the only problem with this, is all of a sudden here you have Cloak wearing like this hoodie, but you really need to have a cape flowing behind him, so it'd look kind of weird maybe, but they might be able to fix it. So yeah, these guys were kind of hard to find stuff for. Alright, then we have Doctor Strange. Doctor Strange is interesting. He has a lot of similar costumes. But in Marvel Heroes, he has a 1602 costume, which is the takes place back at the beginning of the Americas, back in Britain. So it's kind of like that. Is it Renaissance? Not Renaissance. Not quite medieval, but yeah, he's kind of like that, like Shakespearean type costume on. It's not really my favorite version of this costume, but it's only like really fine. I did think an alternate form might be kind of cool to make a Clea costume. I know that Clea technically has completely different types of powers. She relies more on darkness than Doctor Strange does, but like I don't know if in the future we're necessarily going to get her, so that might be a neat alternate costume just to swap in, and she could just share his abilities. Alternatively, in the Avengers 1 million BC comic books, it takes place in prehistoric times. Like a group of Avengers, they're basically like the original form of lots of the powers. Phoenix Force, Odin as Thor, a Black Panther, like the original one of the original Black Panthers, which we've already seen the costume for. It's just this tiger motif, or is it panther motif, where he's basically naked, but he has like a panther head on. That's part of that grouping. But yeah, here we had Agamotto, who is like the Eye of Agamotto comes from. So yeah, he's like the original Mystic back then. So that'd be kind of a neat one to give Doctor Strange, because he'd be the same character pretty much. We also had Ghost Rider, a Starbrand, and a Iron Fist. Then we have some goofier Avengers Academy ones. We have this Elemental one where it's like water armor and like coral. And I think that's kind of be like an interesting different take on him. We've seen like the God version. This might be kind of an interesting version. And then we have King Doctor Strange, which I think would be kind of interesting as well to just get like a like that version. Like I like this because his outfit in there has kind of like still that pattern like his normal cloak has. But yeah, just something where he's also like a teenager version of himself might be kind of a neat idea. That's kind of a running theme with the Avengers Academies, and I have in here. It'd be kind of neat to see some of the characters in like casual gear, more casual gear, or teenage versions of themselves. Might be kind of interesting. Kind of seeing the opposite with Thor. Like we had Thor and Magneto. We had old man Thor, and we had bearded Magneto, and then we got some alternate costumes that had like the original versions. The same thing, I'm sure we're probably going to get like an old man Hawkeye and old man Wolverine at some point. So it's kind of neat to even go the other direction, see some of the teenage versions of these characters. Then we have Hawkeye. Hawkeye, I didn't pick a lot of costumes for him, just because, again, a lot of them are just variations on his various purple and black costumes, outside of going with like his standard classic one, which has the big giant H on it and the pointy ears. I did like the idea of the sweatpants guy. Outside of Spider-Man and possibly like Matt Murdock Daredevil, one of the few characters I could see just showing up to combat, in just like regular gear. He's not like dressed all up. Maybe like Luke Cage as well. Luke Cage doesn't really wear a costume. But yeah, I could see him doing a costume where he just has his t-shirt and his sweatpants on. He's just out fighting in the middle of like a cosmic battle without battle gear on. Gender swap version, Kate Bishop. Again, you could definitely make her, as the Avengers game did prove, you could make her own character. And I don't doubt you could do it with every character. But again, if we're not going to get around to getting another one, this could be a neat way to add a thing. The only problem they run that risk on is if they make like same thing as this or any of the other characters like Clea or whoever. If they make a version that's an alternate character, that basically means they can't make that character later on. Otherwise, if they do, they have to basically get rid of the skin, because you can't have Kate Bishop running around, with Hawkeye dressed up as Kate Bishop, because otherwise people wouldn't know who's who, and in this game you need to know who's who. So that's one thing. Then another alternate character, though, which I don't know if they'd make as a separate one, is from the brand new Marvel Ultimate line. Just an alternate reality where they just took different takes on all the characters. Is you have Charlie Ramsey, who's the new Native American Hawkeye in that series, who took over for Clint Barton Hawkeye because he died. I believe he died in the original Ultimate series. So I think he has actual Hawkeye's bow and everything, Clint's bow. So yeah, that'd be kind of a neat, different alternate take if we wanted to do that. Way to get a different version of the character in there. Without having to like try and create them. Then we did have some of the Avengers Academy, just some more interesting. If we were going to do some more classic Hawkeyes, I like his King one, and I like his hoodie version. His hoodie version, which could easily also be switched over as an alt color for like the Ronin. Just make the Ronin costume almost, and then just instead change it from some of the black and stuff, just make it purple, and then take off the mask. So you can always have that as an alternate costume. Otherwise, yeah, just like the hoodie jersey or jacket there, like the what do you call that? The Letterman jacket, like he get in high school. Be kind of a neat look for him. Hela's another one of them characters. It's almost impossible to find various costumes because everything is pretty much a variation of her regular one. She does have her original costume, which is like a very interesting purple, but now that they have the Will of Galactica one out, it might be almost too clashing. But yeah, lots of them are just like her head thing looks a little bit different. There's a little bit different aesthetic, but lots of green, lots of gold. So I just picked out 2 other images I could kind of find from Siege Loki and from the X Factor comic books, where she's wearing a non-standard Hela outfit. That's also the other problem. A lot of times you find her either she's in her full green and black gear, or she's basically naked. So she kind of is one or the two. So it'd be interesting to see what else they could do with her. I just hope that we don't get like, some characters like Iron Man, Wolverine, Spider-Man end up with like 30 costumes, and some of these other characters that get like 3. That's the only downside to some of that, but it's kind of what they are, right? Hulk is always an interesting one as well, because typically the Hulk runs around in, purple, brown, green pants, whatever, and no top. And you can again do all the new stuff with like movie action, where you can have like him in like his smart Bruce Banner suit and all that. I didn't put Joe Fixit Hulk on here, which is in the pink suit stripe, because I imagine we'll get that one. So I put 3 other interesting ones I found here. The Horseman of War. Apocalypse took him in for a little while. He had a big giant like whip and everything. Wore a mask and all this armor and stuff, which the Hulk really doesn't need. But yeah, it just kind of adds that. Like if you saw like this steampunky version coming out. The other thing that makes me think very interesting about these is because of the way the game works with the Hulk. Is because now you also have to design how's this costume going to look on Bruce Banner, and then how's it going to look on Monster Hulk. And I think that's kind of a neat idea as well. Get some more interesting stuff. Can you imagine like Bruce Banner running around in like big giant spiked shoulder with like this kind of like gimp like mask on? Be kind of funny. In the Avengers game, we had one that was possessed. So they had a couple of different ones like this where you just had like body paint on. And I thought this is a neat one where they kind of made him look like a skeleton. I thought that'd just be like a neat thing where it's not like him just drawing tribal marks, because I had some that were kind of look like that. And I know he does have one in the House of M series where he has vibranium bands on, even as Bruce Banner, to kind of help keep him from controlling his ability. So it's a kind of a neat one there, but this is just kind of, I thought was an interesting thing. Again, like you see Bruce Banner, like you give him just maybe like a skeleton costume or something, like clothes, and then he bursts out and it's like, oh, it's the Hulk underneath. And I did put Maestro, which is from Midnight Suns, which is a dead giveaway. Again, I probably think they'll make a Maestro at some point. Bearded Hulk, be very easy to do. But the reason I picked this was because this is the only version of the Maestro I've ever seen where he actually has some of the aesthetics from the other characters on him, which is what I loved about the original action figure when I bought it way back in the 90s. He's got like a Doom mask, Iron Man mask, Spider-Man costume attached to him. He's got the Eye of Agamotto, like Captain America's shield, Ghost Rider's chains. And I think that looks cooler than just having him just running around normally. Now, the only problem here would be is now, when he's the Maestro, he's never Bruce Banner. He basically does not. He can turn back into Bruce Banner, though, as they showed in the Secret Wars. So you could have him just still like an old man looking Bruce Banner, like a big beard and like a cloak on, because that's kind of how he was in there, and they can transform. So that'd be kind of neat, but then you wouldn't be able to really have all that gear on him as well. But it would be kind of a neat idea. Then we picked out 2 more of them. We have Fear Itself from Future Fight. This is a gang where they give out the hammers, but this time he's one of the bad guys. He has one of the evil Thor hammers. I know it's not Thor, it's his dad's brother. But he's got one of the evil, like, Thor-like hammers, and he becomes Null. I didn't write on here, I usually write that on there. Yeah, that's just also an interesting one. Again, you wouldn't be able to give him necessarily the hammer. The Bruce Banner thing would be interesting. We got, like, a hammer just, like, attached to his back or something. Like, he's carrying it on his back, he's not carrying it with him. Just as an aesthetic might be cool. And I put Brawn on here. This is Adamus Chow. Super smart genius kid who gets himself eventually turns into the Hulk, and then he can Hulk out even bigger than he is there. I thought this might be an neat alternate for Bruce Banner. You could have Adamus Chow be running around, Either you could have him brawn like this, where he's already Hulk looking, and then you could Hulk out even further, or you could have him look as a normal Adamish Chow, where he just looks like a little kid, and then Hulk out into bigger like track-suited brawn as well, or Hulk. You know, that may be kind of a neat alternate for Bruce Banner. The only thing you wouldn't want to change is size, because again, they might have hitboxes where Bruce Banner is this tall, and if all of a sudden you put Adamish Chow, who's like, 3 inches shorter than him, people might be, oh, I've gotten used to hitting this person there. That's why I think you have to worry about some of these costumes for game engine wise. Then we have 2 funnier ones. We have Thunder Hulks, like a series of characters, and World War Hulks, where they all got a bunch of other characters got imbued by Hulk energy, and now technically Thunder Hulk is actually Thor. This is Thor who's been turned into a Hulk. But I put it in here because as a costume aesthetic, it would make more sense for Thor to get the costume versus or Hulk to get versus Thor, because you have to completely change Thor's body type and all that. So this might be a neat one to give him, although it's technically the wrong character. They did have Spider-Man, like Iceman, Captain America, Wolverine, they all hulked out as well. But Thor had one of the more neat costumes because he almost became like the element of thunder. And I thought it was like, again, a funny Halloween-y type costume might be like the Mad Scientist. So it's like have Bruce Banner in like a lab coat or whatever, like goofy glasses, the big hair, and then when he hulks out, he keeps all his clothes on, and he's running around like this. And then maybe even if he monster hulks out, maybe even go a step further and have him like either still have like part of the lab coat drenched off him or something, or have him turn into like the Frankenstein's monster. Be kind of an interesting little gimmick. Human Torch is a hard one. First of all, because we haven't seen his model yet, so we don't know what he's going to look like when he comes out. And the other thing is because he's typically all just covered in flames. So he's had a couple of different costumes over the years. But again, if they have just basically, like when he's standing out on a screen, he's fine. But then as soon as he gets into battle, he flames on. You can't see his costume anymore. You just see a ball of flame. I'm kind of less inclined to really care what his costume is anymore. So it kind of depends on how they do it. If they do a thing like this, where I'm showing him over here, so you can really see kind of what his costume is, that'd be kind of neat. Other thing with him and then the rest of the Fantastic Four this would go through is they're really hard to find costumes for in general because they typically have some variation of their blue costumes. Otherwise, they jump to the more obvious, their white Future Foundations, or the negative versions that had black ones, or they have their newer ones which were red and black. So I kind of didn't go with any of those because there's like the standard ones. But he does have this neat one in part of the 2099 series of Time Storm, which is a future version of the Human Torch. It's not Johnny Storm, but he has this neat costume. Otherwise, the other Human Torch ones he had were he has one where he's part of the Guardians of the Galaxy and one where he's part of the Inhumans. Both of them are kind of neat outfits, but again, I don't know what they're going to look like, so I didn't really include them. If we wanted to do a gender swap, the most obvious choice would be Frankie Rise Nova, who basically has the same powers as Human Torch. She's a ball of fire. But if we want to do someone that had... But again, anytime you see her, she's basically just almost naked and full of fire. Like, she has a little costume underneath, obviously, so she powers down. If she powers down, she's not just standing around naked. But she doesn't have any, like, thing that stands out generally other than being a fire woman. I thought actually be more perfect would be Sunfire from the Exiles, because I love the Exile series, which is Yuriko, Wolverine's old girlfriend. This version, she becomes imbued with fire powers. And she has a neat little costume, plus again, we get another female character. So that might be an alternate idea there. Here we are, Invisible Woman. So she has her ultimate universe, so after the ultimatum, half the ultimate universe collapsed, she kind of went off on her own. She got this new bluish costume, which when she joined and started working with S.H.I.E.L.D., I thought that was definitely a different design. It's still the bluish, there's a little bit of purple in there, but it's not her standard thing. It would kind of almost work, because at that point, then she would have been opposite of the Maker, which is Mr. Fantastic's alternate costume. So that would have been kind of a neat idea there, so you could have those two fighting against each other or with each other. Then for some comic book ones I picked out, I did like this one here. She has a Doom armor costume. I don't know if the official name of it, but it's basically her standard blue uniform, but she has like Doom gauntlets and leg plates on, and cape. Yeah, give people capes, which is a little bit different costume design. Or alternatively, in another Exiles one, she actually became Madam Hydra. Lots of the alternate reality versions of her are very much the same, or something where maybe she's with Namor. Some of them might be neat too. She may have more of like a, but there it's more of like a bikini style costume. That's just kind of neat if you want to give her like a green dress and that, especially because a lot of people like had the issue with her having just the white costume, mostly white, kind of blends with cloak a little bit, or dagger rather. So I like this is kind of a neat alternative version of the Hydra, and there's been a couple other characters that have Hydra outfits as well. Iron Fist, so he runs into an issue. We have the current one is it Ling Li, who is the Sword Master, so he doesn't have a lot of costumes himself. So I think we're going to end up getting Danny Rand costumes. So I did pick the classic one. Notice, I think we'll probably get like the full suit one, or has like the full tracksuit on, but I love the original one, the big giant V-neck all the way down to past his belly button. So you see his dragon tattoo on his chest. I really thought that was a cool one for the Marvel Heroes. Otherwise, I found this feature fight, the Living Weapon one, which looks really neat. Where he has like still the motif where you can see the dragon on his chest. There's a little short jacket with the big flared collars. Kind of keeping that flared collar theme, I think, is aesthetic. And I did pick an alternate one from the Avengers 10,000 BC, which is Fang Fei. So she is one of the, there's been a ton of Iron Fist throughout the years, bunch of different females as well. I thought this would be kind of just, again, a little neat one to go with that, because it ties in if you did the Agamotto and the Black Panther one. Now you can start working on eventually you can make the Odin son, the Odin one for Thor, and you can start creating your team of 10,000 BC Avengers if you wanted to. So that'd be kind of a neat idea there, just a different character. Iron Man has about a bazillion armors. You could make the entire game just Iron Man armors, but again, lots of them are just slight different versions or little things here, different aesthetics, different color, style, designs on his red and gold. You can always go back to the classics, like his original Mark 1 or his Mark 2, which is the gold one. You have like War Machine costumes, but again, I think War Machine would play differently as a full different character. Even here, I do show Rescue on here as being an alternate or female costume with gender swap, essentially. Sometimes people like her blue costume better. I just picked the red one because the one they had in this game, because the blue one wasn't out yet. But yeah, so that could definitely be a neat thing. But again, you could even make Rescue obviously her own character, and she'd be more of a Iron Man-esque support character or strategist versus not Vanguard. But yeah, more of a DPS type character. But again, if you don't think you're going to make that because you have other characters you want to put in there, that'd be cool, but you won't want to make the alternate costume then make her later on. I did pick Star Boost though, because I thought this was a very interesting one. This did appear in Iron Man 3 for the first time. That's where it first originated from. But it's the white and black, I think, look really cool. I know it kind of might be similar enough to his Superior Iron Man with the color scheme, but I thought it was better than some. I didn't put any of the Hulkbuster in there because I feel like Hulkbuster almost has to be its own character, because you can't have Hulkbuster armor being twice as big. Again, then you're going to have the hitbox issue for the game-wise. Plus, also, it doesn't make sense for Hulkbuster to be sitting up in the air that much. But there's some cool-ass Hulkbuster costumes to be cool, too. I just think I'd rather get about, 20 other different characters before I get a second Iron Man. That's for some of the alternate characters lying into, instead of getting like a Clea to go with Doctor Strange, or Rescue to go with Iron Man, or War Machine even. I might almost rather have other alternate characters or different people than getting guys that are kind of like very similar. I know they can do them differently, but I don't want the same characters. So here are 3 other ones I found for Iron Man. Be kind of interesting, just a little bit different. The first 2 from the Avengers game. So you have Foundation, Artificial Genius. When we're kind of taking the gold and red, but a little bit different text style, lots more gold than red, or kind of like dirty, rusted, beat down. But I like the AI head. Both of them have Tony Stark with his face out. Definitely see Iron Man in the middle of battle pulling out his mask or whatever and taunting people. Again, it might not make sense, but it might look kind of cool. And then we have another Avengers 3099, which is more like Ghost Iron Man, which I just thought looked really neat. Like stealth tech with like give him a cape and a hood, and I'm sold. Then we had some of the goofier ones. Cardboard Box Iron Man. I think if they did like an April Fool's like time thing, and they did like some fun extra little just gimmicky costumes, make them really cheap, let people buy them up fast, that'd be kind of a fun one to do. Or Hydra Armor, which is where he goes underwater. I love when Wolverine wears one for an issue. But yeah, that might be just a different aesthetic versus something different. Jeff the Shark is also one of these characters that just doesn't have a ton of costumes. So I just picked like 2 of the images I could kind of find. One from the Jeff, it's actually from Marvel. I don't know where it's at. So this one has Deadpool and Gwenpool on it, so they just might not be able to put this in there, because I know there's some issue about they might not be able to have the ability to use Deadpool right now for some reason. I don't know why that would be. But if they can't put him in the game, because maybe his game licensing is built into something else, because I know it's cinematic, comic books, board games, card games, all this stuff, everything has a different license for the characters. It's not just you get to use this character for everything typically. So they might not be able to put like a print of him on there. But you could put any other different picture on that inner tube. Might be kind of funny. Otherwise, we have the Venomized one. Just a Venom Jeff the Shark would be kind of fun to play around with. Voice change him. Now, you could obviously, this is one of those costumes where you could do a Venomized version of just about every single character's been Venomized at some point or the other, pretty much. But I don't want to see 12 Venoms on the field. Like, you have 1 or 2 characters that are also Venomized. Spider-Man makes sense. You get Jeff, okay, kind of interesting. He's a smaller character. He definitely stand out, but I don't want to start seeing, like, Hulk Venom. And, like, again, the part of me that would love to own every costume and have everything and see every costume would love to see all that stuff in the game digitally. But for how expensive they are, I can't buy them all. And also for the fact is I just don't want to jump into the lobby and see the exact same 10 costumes and have a sea of Venoms. It might be fun to see once in a while, but like I don't want to see it all the time. Same thing like neon characters or tech characters. Loki, I picked a couple different costumes. This was kind of interesting. So I started with Marvel Heroes, Agent of Asgard, and Lady Loki. And then Future Fight also had them. So I put them both on here just because I wanted to show there's like years of graphics difference. They're basically the same costumes, but there's a little bit of tweaks on each one. I kind of like the Heroes, Agent of Asgard, Loki a little bit better. I like the little bit smaller crown. And I like the more greenish black cloak versus the darker green, or the lighter green that the Future Fight has. But you guys show you guys like this sword in there instead of a staff. That'd be kind of a neat idea as well. But yeah, the Agent of Asgard one has a little bit more detail as well. So it's kind of like, you can see a mixture between those a little bit. And same thing like the Lady Lokis. I kind of like the Future Fight one overall a little bit better. I like the big crown, a little bit more details on some of the stuff. But I do like the staff, or like the scepter from Marvel Heroes, which is like the trident, versus his one that's just like from the movies. Which I get they're just doing alternate costume. They just don't want to recreate a new weapon for that game. But that's my thought. And then finally there's the TVA suit. If you just want more of a plain Loki. I know we're supposed to be getting presidential Loki at some point. We could put him in a suit. So that might be good enough for some people. But that'd be kind of a fun extra little costume to have. Then we had some goofy Avengers Academy one. We had Big Game Hunter. And you just imagine Loki running around with this. 3 of them. Clones sitting around. or Lawyer Loki, again, if you want a suit, or the Immortal Sorcerer, just all clad in gold as opposed to green. That'd be very interesting ideas. And then for some even goofier ones, we have the Winter Loki, which has him in a big giant fur coat. Again, if we want to go an April Fool's costume one, I would love Thunder Loki, where he's dressed up as Thor. So, but if they're gonna do it, you have to make it look like really cheapy looking costumes. He has like the fake muscles on, like fake hair. Like it has to look like it's a Loki character wearing a costume, not like him actually being Thor. And then finally, you can go a really easy, cheapy like Cat Loki. Which is actually a character from one of the multiverses, and just a character they ended up creating to appear in one comic somewhere along the line or a cover. But yeah, it'd be kind of a goofy one to do. Luna Snow, she does not have a lot of costumes because she hasn't been in the comic books very much. She was in Agents of Atlas, I believe. But her future sites, I think, where she first appeared, so these are a couple of the costumes from there. She had one other one where she has more of a casual look. But I kind of feel like her current costume is sort of, it's performance, but it's still casual. But that'd be neat as well. But I like these. She has like a full Andromeda suit, so an interesting space suit, kind of like, looks like if she's an agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. that she still has her snowflake and moon aesthetics on her. I do like the light Sirius one. That cool cloak like that is really neat. Like the headgear around the neck thing is kind of odd, but I do like the idea of the whole cloak, keep the little black and white motif going a little bit. And then we have the Summer Lilac, which is, again, you just want to give her more of like a casual fun. And that's when you could probably even like color swap a bunch of times too if you wanted to make some extra costumes. Then we have Magic. Magic, again, when they started, didn't have a ton of different costumes. She was the New Mutants, and then she was basically her current one, and just slight variations on that. We did have from Marvel Heroes an unreleased set of the Horseman characters. They were going to do this as a future thing before the game got canceled, and she became the Horseman of Famen, which I think is a really neat one. I like give her that grass wood motif. Go really neat. Looks like we have the new nature versions of Cloak and Dagger, so you can kind of tie in with that good set. Plus, the other interesting things to see if these would be like, what would her Darkchild form look like with these? Or that would be kind of more like, almost have it be like very Branch and Barty. That'd be kind of neat. For comic book wise, I'd love to see her New Mutants, just her team uniform. Like, we have her current one with the black and all that. That's like her most common one people see. I'd love to go back to just like this Blue and X, which is the more modern New Mutants outfit, not her like original one. I think that'd be kind of just a neat basic look for her. Or I would love this again, going back to the Exiles. It's one from an alternate reality where she had this red outfit on, which is a really neat version of their costume, because you don't often see that. Usually it's the blacks or it's the blue and gold. So it's red one with the big shoulder pads. I thought it was a really neat version of her character. Magneto, I could not find much for Magneto as well. Almost all his costumes are just his purple and red, or they're his newer black one or his white one. Otherwise, we've seen some of the more interesting ones, like the House of M we've already seen. So I picked these two. They're kind of just toss-away ones, I guess, but we have Earth X, where he's actually like the Toad Jester character. That might be like just a funny little throwaway one for like April Fools or something like that. And then he has a Secret Wars E for Extinction, where he's leading the new team of X-Kids, and he's got like the big giant puffy coat on, which I thought was just a different version of him. But yeah, most of his costumes, like his Age of Apocalypse one is pretty cool, but again, lots of those are just variations on his red and purple. He doesn't have a ton of different ones. And yeah, I didn't dig through every comic book out there. I was trying to do video game stuff first, and I just kind of found some comic book ones for characters I couldn't find costumes for. Mantis doesn't have a ton either. She has her Avengers Academy, which I think this is more of just a sweet, slimline version of kind of like her standard costume. And then I found this new one from one of the newer Guardian of the Galaxy costumes. I couldn't find any other information about it, but it has one of those like cyber suits, this big giant fist and that, and I think that'd just be like an intimidating mantis coming at you. I didn't even find a name for what it was called. But yeah, it looks kind of cool. She does have her classic one, which is more of like the Asian, like kind of like split dress, has all this like big V-neck dress and like things that hang down and stuff. It does look kind of cool, but I wonder if they wouldn't include something like that because she hasn't worn that costume in like hundreds of years now. And I think maybe it just might be a thing of like, is that like a racial costume? And might be like that's why they don't put her back in there, because now she always, you see her in everything now, she always wears like almost a full body suit. So that maybe they might not go back to that. Mr. Fantastic, his maker costume's about the only costume he's had that's been unique. This is the only one I could find where it's just a standard Fantastic Four, but just the vest, either white or brown. Otherwise, lots of his costumes, again, you can get the Future Foundation, the white or the black ones. You can get his red and black costumes, variation on blue. But he doesn't have a ton of different outfits because he's not someone that really cares. He put on this uniform and that's who he is. He doesn't change his outfits too often. He doesn't join other teams. So that's pretty much all I could find for him. Moon Knight. Yeah, so Moon Knight again, just lots of variation on his white costumes. I did love the Earth X costume though, where he's kind of like the mummy wraps on. So he stopped being a superhero and now he's just trying to protect Khonshu's temple. So he's hanging out in the desert, so he's just wearing like mummy wraps. He keeps dying and getting resurrected. But it's a very neat, different aesthetic for him. Although it's still basically white, it looks interesting enough. And then obviously one of the few times I'm going to mention the MCU stuff, because that'd definitely be cool. There's just his more ornate looking version. So I imagine they'll probably do MCU versions for most of them. Although I'm not sure how the TV series work into that versus the movies, but that'd definitely be a cool one. I know his other one he'll probably get will be his mainly black one with like a little white up on the top. It's kind of like a crescent moon when it's on his chest. But yeah, that's more one of his standard ones. Namor doesn't have a ton of different costumes either. You could go his full battle armor one from way back in the 90s. Otherwise, it's all variations on his little mini shorts. His newer X-Men ones where he has full bodysuits are more blue, are kind of cool. Blue or black. I do love this Avengers Sea Lord ones. This is if the Avengers were in medieval times. And it's all the different medieval ones. I didn't include any of the other Avengers on there because we've already kind of seen a medievalish Iron Man with the current Blood Knight one. I already showed a version of a Captain America. Hawkeye, he just looks like an old-timey archer. And I think that was about it for these characters that are currently up. But I do like this Namor with like this scaled dress and like the interesting trident. So it's kind of just a neat, different design. For gender alternate is obviously covering Namora. I picked the Exiles one because she's the blue-skinned Namora. Just runs around, punches the crap out of stuff. Although you can always use Namorita, who's the pink-skinned one from the New Warriors. She would work as well. I don't know if they have different enough powers to ever make them a separate character. But yeah, if they wanted to use some interesting gender-swapping characters, might be kind of neat. For Spider, Penny Parker, I couldn't find any costumes. I don't even know if she has alternate costumes, other than Into the Spider-Verse one, where it's a completely different designed robot. So again, I'm not sure how well you could aesthetically change the full model to still make sure it fits in the theming of it. Because again, like if you make her head into a big bubble versus a small little head shot, and like basically widen her torso and get rid of her head, it might change the hitboxes, which might mess up things for that. So, other than that, yeah, kind of an interest. You could maybe do something similar, try and fit this design there. I don't know if she really has too many other designs. She's kind of one of them, like Luna Snow. She's kind of a new enough character, and Jeff. A new enough character, there's also like a side character, never like a main solo character, that they're hard to have a bunch of costumes for. But if you guys know of other costumes for these characters, hit me up in the comments, let me know where to look. I'd like to check them out. Psylocke has a bazillion costumes I could have put on here. First one, we have Horseman of Death. This is from the unreleased Age of Apocalypse storyline. That just looks badass. You see that Psylocke sneak up on you with all these big blades on her, that'd be pretty nasty. Otherwise, I love the Mandarin version as well, where she becomes kind of brainwashed by the Mandarin and becomes the next Mandarin for a while. Interesting story with her, Wolverine, and Jubilee and Madripoor. But yeah, it's just a neat, different armor. Plus the blue to get away from like the purples. Otherwise, we have her in one of her newer ones from the X-Men's Disassembled storyline, where she has this more just like a spandex costume with like the open shoulders, but yeah, like the white and purple on there. Still kind of gives her that ninja aesthetic thing. I could also see her doing something with like the Kawan costumes, because that's actually who the Psylocke body is. Or they could switch over and do like the newer Captain Britain one. But the thing is, the Captain Britain one is back to the original Betsy Braddock body, so she doesn't really have. So in that form, she's not really as much of the ninja. She's more of the psychic warrior. So that'd be kind of like, it might be a little bit more difficult to explain why she has her powers the way they are. I did pick two other alternates from comic books. Age of X-Men, we have this slim black outfit with the hoodie on it, and this yellow trim, again, just a different color scheme for it to be kind of neat. Or if we want to go crazy, from the Exile comics, we have a Barbarian. So throughout one of the Exile series, Slaymaster, who attacked the original 616 Betsy, and ripped out her eyes at one point, had started hunting Psylocke from across the universe, the multiverse. So this is one of the neater ones when she was a Barbarian outfit. I thought that kind of neat. Also fitting well with like Gladiator Hulk, Gladiator Captain America. It's kind of if you want to have like a team theme of that type of thing. Punisher does not change his costume too much. So we did pick the Noir one, give him a trench coat, looks pretty damn cool. The skull mask like that. I like the skull mask versus the skull face paint. But he's like a detective. Again, it might be sort of weird to have him pulling out big, giant, heavy machinery like a turret and stuff, but that's alright. Halloween themed, of course, we have Franklin Castle. You have to include him in there. And then possibly, again, gender swap. We have Rachel Elves, who is another character that took over the Punisher mantle for a while. Again, she wouldn't need a whole lot of changes. A little bit of aesthetic changes on her costume and stuff. But yeah, just give you a different flares if you don't want to play as Frank Castle. The only thing with those, any of the gender swap, is you have to record brand new voice lines for a lot of their stuff, so that's why they, like, even in Marvel Heroes, those ended up being, like, the more expensive costumes, just because they had that, so that'd be just one of the things. Then we had some other different ones for him. We had the King Castle from Avengers Academy. I just love Frank as just wearing jeans and, like, a skull t-shirt with a little beanie cap on. It's kind of funny. And then we had Future Fight, is we had Fist of the Beast, where he's walking around with like a Ronin gear on and a sword. So yeah, I don't know how well that would really, like, he could just have the swords on him as like an aesthetic. It just wouldn't kind of mean anything. Yeah, give him a little bit of Ronin gear, just a little bit different look to him. Kind of cool. So I just combined Rocket and Groot because they don't have a bunch of costumes either. Because Groot is a giant tree, and Rocket pretty much stays in his like brown, green, or his Guardian Blue costumes. But they had a couple different ones. So from Marvel Heroes, they had you played as Rocket, and Venom was like a summon. So they had the Venomized version. So the Rocket one's okay. He's kind of just like this black and white costume. The Groot one looks crazy, where he gets like those big giant plant leaves and almost like a Venus flytrap type aesthetic. From the Guardians of the Galaxy game, Rocket gets Stinger, puts him in a suit. I could definitely see that one coming at some point. Where they also had an aesthetic in there of having all the characters of their Horsemen of the Apocalypse, or from variant covers. So for Groot, we got like this red and black bramble bush tree, which I thought looked really neat. Definitely give him more of an evil vibe if you want to play as him. Like, hey, he's brutal and he's evil. He has like, the only thing to be questioned is if you did that is would you change his walls to be like red and black bramble as well. Or you have from Secret Wars Thor's comic book, where a bunch of different characters were all Thors from the multiverses, where Groot became Thor for a while. So this again would be a neat costume for Groot to have, where he runs around with like the leaf cape on, like kind of like headdress, and maybe holding a hammer, maybe it's just sitting on his hip or something. Be kind of cool. Scarlet Witch, lots of red and black variants. We have from Age of Ultron, so the MCU. Again, I'm not going to do too much of the movie stuff, but I like this versus her full Scarlet Witch outfit back when she was just wearing like the black gothy dress and a little red jacket. I thought it's kind of a really cool outfit. The Ultimate Universe, where she just like the tube top and spandex pants. Again, just a different look to her. And then I have for a gender swap the other direction, because there's not a lot of female characters that have male counterparts. You could do Wiccan. Again, I realize that there's a lot of stuff where they might release Wiccan later. He could have his very different types of powers. But it could be one you could do that. And if you actually did that, like Hawkeye for Kate Bishop or Captain America, you could do Patriot. You could cheese it if you really wanted to, and you could do Hulkling for Hulk, and you could basically add the Young Avengers into the game under various other characters. Iron Lad for Iron Man. It's just like an alternate set of costumes for them. The only problem is something like this, you got like lots of them, you have to revoice them all. So that'd be the only problem, is when you have to make a brand new character to revoice them, makes them a little bit more expensive, so it might not be worth it. From Midnight Suns, I did like this Boss Witch costume. Just kind of variation with the little black crop top jacket, but he also gives her like the pants and stuff, so instead of always having her wear like the dresses. So it's a little interesting for her. Spider-Man. So Spider-Man I went a little bit odd with. So I'm going to jump right to the middle one. We have Mayday Spider-Girl. Again, alternate version. That's one of the few ones I could literally see. This is her daughter from the future, the MC2. Originally a What If character. They could actually be an alternate for her. She's wearing like the old Ben Reilly type costume. So again, Spider-Woman, whether it's Julia Carpenter or why can't I think of the other Spider-Woman's name? It'll come to me later. But yeah, one of the Spider-Girl, Spider-Woman characters. Jessica, and I can't think of her last name. Yeah, like those characters wouldn't really make sense as well, because they have very different type. They have similar powers, but they're different. Maybe Silk again, but it's kind of different. But I think this might work. But again, you have to revoice all the lines. Then the other two on the other side, we have Battle Damage, and then for Midnight Suns, you have Casual. I think Spider-Man is one of these few characters I could see having a casual costume jumping around. I know he's always hiding his identity, but I could see him almost having just this, oh crap, he didn't change all of his costume because he knew he just had to get in the battle and start fighting. Or something like that. Or he'd just have this costume, lots of them have, then he has like his Spider-Man mask on, which would be kind of funny as well. But I would almost love to see a Battle Damage. I think he'd be one of the few characters I could literally see, like, he's one of the few characters you actually see have a Battle Damage costume. Most other characters don't. Like, they get hurt or they get damaged or hurt or whatever. Then, like, they don't really, like, you don't see them, like, running around the comic book with their stuff all broken down and ripped up too often. You see Spider-Man a lot. So I can see a Battle Damage costume for him. Then from the Spider-Man game, we picked 4 other interesting costumes. Now, he has a ton in there. I could probably make, again, video just on those costumes. But I picked the Fear Itself one again. I like most of the Fear Itself because they're kind of like that neon glow. But they have a different aesthetic on them from just being neon glow costumes. So I think the blue and black stands out for him. The Kumo suit, I'm not even sure what this is from, but this is badass. It's either this or Spider-Man India with Pravra Parker. Again, just being like a very different aesthetic. The Arachninite, which is from Marvel Warps. Infinity Warps, where they actually merged characters such as Spider-Man and Moon Knight, if they were mixed together. Those are actually some really cool costumes. You even have like Thor and Iron Man that got mixed. That would be a cool one. Or Captain America and Doctor Strange. The only problem with some of them would be which one do you put them under? Because they could really obviously probably be either character. This one could obviously be either one too, because you have them using all Moon Knight's abilities with kind of like a Spider-Man look, or it could be Spider-Man with like a Moon Knight look. So that'd be the only thing is a little tricky because you wouldn't want to give it to both characters. And then the X-Men did their Hellfire Galaxy big giant party, and they had all the characters, any characters that kind of got special costumes made. Which kind of just showed off their thing, like they're all designed really fancy and stuff, like a big ball. This is Spider-Man for one of the more recent ones, which I thought looked really neat. Again, just different than his standard outfits. Again, we have Miles that could come in at some point, who got very different abilities as well. So I didn't do him as an alternate costume, because he has like his camouflage and his shock abilities. Plus, he has his own set of costumes. Plus, you have to be able to play Peter Parker and as Miles Morales Spider-Man. Same thing as Spider-Gwen. I think she'd be interesting enough just to have as her own character, doing her own type of thing. She's a lot more, I think, like, baladic, agile-ish stuff more than Spider-Man kind of would be at points. I definitely could see them all being different characters. Squirrel Girl doesn't have a lot of outfits. She kind of picked her one brown outfit and stuck with it. Sarah picked two different ones. A Christmas-themed outfit, which I thought, might be kind of fun. Or she has one where she's in, like, a kind of gray dress, more casual outfit. The only other one I could really find that was vastly different was her, when the Great Lakes Avengers, which the team she was originally part of, they thought they were all mutants, so they weren't allowed to use the Avengers name anymore, so they became the Great Lake X-Men, and they all started wearing, like, the black leather from, like, the 2000s X-Men. Which is kind of neat as well, but you could probably just find other interesting made-up costumes for her instead. So not a ton of different stuff for her. Star-Lord, we've seen lots of his stuff. It's just lots of variations on his more current Guardian of the Galaxy stuff, or it's his original one, or it's like the Ravengers blue outfit. But these are two different ones I thought were neat. For Marvel Now, we have his white battle suit, like armored suit, which I thought it's a very different look than all the other Star Wars. Or from the Guardian of the Galaxy, the Apocalypse one costume is Horseman of the Apocalypse. He's got like devil horns and like just black and they keeps a little vest on. They give some other neat ones in Guardian of the Galaxy where it's just like his teenager type version where he has like more like an 80s jean vest on, you can kind of see there a little bit. And stuff. But the problem is that anyone they did like that, which would look cool, is they always kept putting his helmet back on. And that'd be the same thing as Marvel Now. Like, this one might look fine if they put a helmet on that fits the aesthetic, but if they just throw the standard Star-Lord helmet on, like, a casual-looking outfit, it looks kind of dumb. So that's why I didn't include those. Storm, we've kind of seen her. Lots of variations on black or white costumes. Here's some interesting ones. Horseman of Pestilence. So almost like an insect-themed costume, which I think is kind of an interesting idea for her. So instead of spreading weather, she can carry diseases and stuff through the storms. It's kind of a neat idea. Otherwise, I have this Astonishing X-Men, which is more of like an interesting take on her white costume, instead of just being like the full white ones. It's a little bit more, I guess, kind of tribal-ish. And I did like the feature fight, this Krakoan Summer. Just more of a casual white costume if you want to go with the white, but you don't want to go, again, the full body suit. Just a little bit different idea with that one. The Thing. Thing wears pants or shorts or trunks, and that's about it. So we have the Spear itself, like the Hulk. This is, I think this is Angar. So this is when he gets one of the possessed evil Thor hammers. Becomes a bad guy. Gets his crusty black look. He has this like little like whatever creatures on him. They're spewing lies in his ear, telling everyone like everyone hates him and thinks he's a monster and stuff. So yeah, it's just kind of just a different idea. Or I love the trench coat. Just take the regular thing, just slap a trench coat on him. He's in disguise. No one will see him coming. Otherwise, we have two other very different costumes. We have his Guardians of the Galaxy uniform. He has a full Guardians like tracksuit on. Just something really interesting and neat about that. Again, you could do this and have a bunch of different other Guardian characters. Because you have Human Torch, I think, has a Guardian one. Iron Man has a Guardian Galaxy costume. Venom, the Space Knight costume, is technically Guardians of the Galaxy for a while. So you could have all these different other characters that are playing on Guardian abilities. Or full pants, white boots, but has the metal helmet after Wolverine clawed into his face. So he hit his face to help protect it so it didn't take more damage because it literally left scars in there. I think that'd be kind of just an interesting idea. I've always liked that costume for a very simple bang. Otherwise, you always have like obviously different mutated versions of him and stuff like that. There's also like She-Thing you could do if you want to do an alternate version, Sharon Ventura. But yeah, that's it here or there. Alright, we have Thor. So we have Ultimate Thor. Just this cool sleeveless one with the little lights on his chest, but he has like the hammer axe, which is really cool. Alternate version, we have Earth X, where this is actually Thor if he was a woman. It's not an alternate version or someone else being Thor's hammer. It's actually Thor. Loki tried to convinced Odin that, hey, he couldn't learn humility as a man, so maybe he learned humility as a woman. So Odin turned him into a woman. So yeah, it's kind of a interesting idea there. They also have some extra cool ones with those characters in, I think it's Universe X, where they actually become the gods start changing their realms, and basically they're it's formed on whether like how people are thinking. There's some that are kind of like they're abstract gods, and they're kind of like all neon like shapes and stuff versus Norse. So I think that's a really interesting idea too. I didn't get any pictures of those though. But yeah, I think this would be a cool Thor because it's not Jane Foster's Mighty Thor. In case you ever wanted to do her, it's actually just a female version of Thor. And there are some other characters, obviously. You go to Universe where they have female versions of the same characters as well. Then Future Fight, we have All Father Reborn. This is a full knighted up armored version of Thor. Looks like his classic costume, but like very armored up, which is very interesting design. Then we had some from the Avengers. These are kind of oddball ones. Everybody on the team had a volcanic one, where it's just kind of like their basic costume, but like then there's parts that were covered in like volcanic ash and fire. And this thought it looked kind of neat on Thor a little bit, like the Iron Man one looked okay. But yeah, again, they had some of these Avenger alternate costumes. They did like various themes where every character got the same type of theme. They were just kind of alternates on this, but I thought it was neat. Otherwise, I love the Lumberjack one. Maybe give him a bigger beard. Like I was changing it to like red flannel or whatever. And there might have been that color in there. I just didn't find it. Yeah, if you want more of a casual Thor, hey, just hang out on Earth as a lumberjack. Be kind of funny. And then here are some Avengers Academy, more goofy ones. Say the mythical one, where he's like uber mythical, horns, everything like Odin times 10, runes everywhere. We have the Desecrator, where he's like evil, evil god. I love the chains on him, kind of represent like the circles he normally has, but that's kind of a fun, interesting version. Otherwise, King Thor, where his jacket goes in as like this, where his cape would be. Instead, it's just like the shoulders on his Letterman jacket. Again, it's kind of a fun thing. And then the War one was sort of the same idea, where he has kind of like the suit and tie, but he has like a little motif on his jacket to kind of look like a cape, and then he has little feathers on his hat. Give anyone a fedora too. Plus, I love his hammer. It's like a blacksmith hammer because it's like, you know, the old timey stuff instead of the big thick hammer. Winter Soldier doesn't have a lot of costumes either, and the ones he does have aren't generally, they're just variations on with mask, without a mask, long hair, short hair. But I like the snowsuit one. Kind of goes with the Captain America Arctic one. Plus, it also worked really well with the Black Widow's white costume. You can have like a team of white characters, just them two. Then you have Cloak and you have Invisible Woman, and then give one other character a white outfit. Then get Anti-Venom and just have team white costumes, and then just make a snow stage so that no one can see him coming. I did pick the Captain America costume for him. I think you could do it just like this, where you give him that costume, but just have the shield on his back, and I think it would work just as well. versus making a Captain America alternate costume. I think that'd be kind of cool as well. And then we have some goofier ones here. We have the Boy Scout version. Just imagine as a goofy Bucky running out with Boy Scout badge and has a little like uniform on, and then he's like starts sniping you. Just imagine this guy jumping down saying "a gang on you," or Team Bucky here, again with like the Letterman jacket type outfit. But I do love this last one he's showing here. So Secret Wars Runaway. This is when he was working with the Hydra school, which were teaching kids. Same one the Cloak and Dagger were from. They're like, then the kids were trying to like get trained up to be like agents. But yeah, then he had to go back and capture him. So this is just a very different version. I think this is a swapped version, like his arm's on the wrong side. But yeah, just different aesthetic for him. So kind of neat. Wolverine has 1,000 brown and yellow costumes. Here are some interesting ones. His spear himself, which instead of getting the glowing neon, he almost gets lava. Like lava and lava spikes and a little bit of armor. Just a very different costume. We have from the Hydra Exiles run, same one Sue Storm from, same world. He actually became a Hydra agent. He gets his green Hydra outfit, which is more just a variation on his standard outfit. You almost just recolor it green if you wanted to, his yellow one. It kind of works, maybe change the belt buckle or whatever. His Marvel Now one I thought looked cool with the browns and orange, but it's just a variation. So a lot of orange, a lot more browns. So just kind of some little bit different stuff. Then we have two different ones here. So we have, I looked at the Avengers Casual. If you just want to do a casual Wolverine, obviously we could get him in a big giant coat or whatever, cowboy hat, cowboy boots. I'd love to see something like this where he's just wearing like sweatpants and an Avengers shirt. Just like the most basic plain thing. We already have him in like his kind of like school outfit, so I don't know if we need that. I thought an interesting alternate character would be Albert, which is like Cyborg Wolverine. So this is actually a completely different character who's a robot who looks like Wolverine, but he basically has all his metal parts and stuff. He has LCD around. He's a little girl who's actually a bomb, and they're meant to kill Wolverine. This would be kind of a neat like metal cyber Wolverine coming at you. You just have like LCD as like an attachment on him somewhere. Even if you had to do it like make him like a little pocket keychain or something, it's just dangling on him somewhere, instead of being like a full size thing, so an ode to that. That might be kind of neat as well. We get to Venom here. We have War of Realms, where he becomes all ruined and spiked out. Just like a little bit different version of him. A little bit nastier version, but not too much. Zombie version. If you went this far with the zombie version, I would love it. I don't want just like zombie version where they're like a little bit of spiked teeth or whatever. Like I love this right here. His bones popping out, his parts of his arm missing, flesh everywhere. And you could do a zombie version of just about every character, but again, you'd have to go hard on it. Maybe not, super realistic, but like you definitely want to go at least so it looks like they're decaying zombies. And I did like the Midnight Sun. This is the only Midnight Sun costume I picked, where it's the gold variation on their costume, because he was already black, so it already made his stuff. So it looks a little bit different, because you don't see that with a lot of Venom stuff. All the rest of them just kind of look like someone just splashed gold on their costumes, which is what this almost does too. But just I think it stands out kind of neat. And I picked two kind of alternates. So the alternate. So we don't really have, obviously, She-Venom as well, which was his wife, girlfriend. I thought Carnage, again, Carnage could definitely play 100% different as a character than Venom, but if you just wanted a quick alternate costume, if you had no intention of ever adding Venom into the game, or Carnage into the game, you could make that a red skin for him instead. At this point, you could probably even just, because he'd basically be like anti-Venom, where it's just like an alternate skin color. It'd be kind of neat as well. Or King Eddie, I thought would be kind of a fun thing. Much like Spider-Man, where I could see him fighting, or Hawkeye, see him fighting out without his costume. I could see Eddie Brock running out like this. Like, maybe have, his Venom mask pop up at some point. Maybe, this is how it starts out, maybe it pops up. But it won't like the football jersey, the Venom on there, like the Venom hands and stuff. Maybe some Venom on him. just because I have a fun little different thing to see him running around. Then we have this. Okay, so that was all the different main characters. Now I just want to look at kind of like groups that I've kind of looked at. So from the Exiles as well, we had this Earth 37072, where they, oh no, I can't remember his name. Garth Khan, I think it was. Basically turned New York into medieval times. A bunch of the heroes were trapped. So you have Black Widow, Thor, Scarlet Witch, Spider-Man, and Captain America in here. Although Spider-Man never wore that costume in the comic books. I thought, again, this might be a neat, different medieval theme for them. I like Black Widow having, like, the peacock motif. Thor's just a Viking, basically. Scarlet Witch is meh. The Spider-Man, the big baggy mask, though, looks really cool. And the more the different gladiator Captain America. Yeah, you wouldn't have to do all of these, but this is kind of a neat idea. Then we did some Hellfire Gala. So this is just characters wearing fancy outfits and suits. So I want to pick out some of my favorites. They had Psylocke. I love the dress. You want to give her more of a flowy dress than she's had. Wolverine just in a suit with a little bolo on it. Just very standard, very slick. Captain America with the pinstripe and the overcoat. It's kind of cool. Again, just different aesthetics. Black Panther, again, with his, like, kind of dressy outfit. Now, again, some of these would be kind of weird because, like, all of a sudden he wouldn't have his claws with him and stuff like that. You know, I like the Black Widow one. The very, like, hidden, mysterious, and, like, the pattern in the red. The Thor, where he's kind of got, like, this top-down, very, almost casual dress-like look, which is very, and plus the walking stick is neat. So, now the second one we have Dylan Brock, which is Eddie Brock's son. Which again is not Eddie Brock, but this could be an interesting costume to either give Eddie Venom, or make an alternate for him if you wanted to. Just kind of like the whole suit, just the symbiote, kind of like coming up from his neck, which is kind of cool. Kind of like a variation almost on the football one we saw. Then the last two we have here are Maggot. So she's had two different ones because it was an X-Men themed thing, so X-Men characters had a lot more costume, but we haven't had enough X-Men in here to really show them off. So we have her original one, which is more like a Wimbo-inspired fire one, so it's supposed to look like fire rising up to her horns. That would be kind of an interesting outfit as well. Again, I don't know how well the flowy stuff would really work with her animation in that. Or what it look like as Darkchild would be kind of interesting. Maybe it becomes actual fire around her. That'd be kind of cool. Or she has her second one where she wore like this dark, spiky black outfit, which could be really neat when she transforms again, because it'd be like she already has kind of like the hooved look on her, and she already has the tail and stuff built in, and she becomes even more evil. Kind of cool there. Alright, so that is what we have for Marvel Rivals costume. Very long video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. If you stuck all the way around to the end, hit me up in the comments if you'd like to see me do other costume ideas, or if you have some interesting ones you'd like to see. Or if you'd like to see me do more videos like this about games, different costumes, or looking at stuff. I might even do it for other games I play as well. Like I always jump into, like, if I'm playing Conan or something, look at all the different outfits in Conan. There's a ton of outfits and weapons. That'd be kind of cool to look at some of that stuff versus just gameplay videos, if you'd be interested in seeing that type of stuff. Otherwise, this game, I might even come through and do like another video on 10 characters I would like to see in the game and what roles I think they'd be neat as. So that'd be kind of cool as well. Alright, hope you guys enjoyed the video. See you later. Bye.